Hello again. So this is the second video in this series where we'll be actually working on some parts, and today, last time we were adding material, this time we'll be taking it away. So maybe you are coming from that other video, maybe you're coming from something else, and maybe you just want to learn how to make a hole in an object. But for this sake, we're just going to be working on this cube that we were working on last time. Again, the dimensions I'm using you don't have to use if you're working on something else, but as far as the series goes, we're just going to continue on this. Alright, here we go. As you can see, here's our cube. Something else we're going to be working on too today is building on faces, not just building on planes. So we're going to start on our sketch, and here's where we'll be building the rectangle that we will cut out of. And so I could either, click on a face on my. Alright, so now that I'm in my sketch, I'm just going to click on the face that I want to work on. So as you can see, it just says face of cube, and I named my extrude cube. It might just say face of extrude 1, but again, we're not going to mess with anything in the sketch right now. We're just going to be working on this face right here. Alright. We're gonna be starting out by making some constructions. So to do this, we will go here, click on this, and I can just click on here and it will automatically put me on a midpoint. This is already in the middle of this little line here if I see this little box, but it might not always be as obvious, so we're just gonna build it, way out here or something like that. There we go. All right, and all that a construction is, it means that it's not really taking it as seriously. Obviously, it's dotted. You're not actually gonna be extruding things. It won't mess with your document, and it won't try to extrude or remove anything to do with this line. It will just help you use this line as a reference, if that makes sense. So you just go up to here. I already have it on midpoint, but if you do not, if it just says coincide and coincide, I'm not even sure how I'm supposed to pronounce that, to be honest. I'm just gonna get a midpoint. So I can click on this, and I just can click anywhere on this line, and it will automatically go to the midpoint of said line. So click on the little head of your line there, a little endpoint, and again, it will connect it automatically to this midpoint. And you might not think of using this stuff as super important to define your document, but it really is, especially if you go further in CAD, because it can really make or break. Like, you'll get all sorts of red images over here and red text, and it will be a fever dream if you do not make sure to define things. And dimensions are a fine way to do that, but they're not as precise, and really don't want to define things to like the outer edges of stuff. And the more we can use midpoints and coincidences, the better it is. Here you go. We're going to make another construction line, and this is going to run through the middle of this. So again, actually we're not going to put the midpoint in yet. We're just going to draw the line. Again, I'm going to draw it way out in space, so you don't get you just don't click on here someplace that looks right. You'll actually use the midpoint function. So click on the little end point of this line. Click anywhere on this line, from the end of here, anywhere on here. There you go. See, it has a little cross. All right. So we're about getting, I particularly didn't draw this on the origin. So we did get used to using origins on the midpoint, but I probably should have moved it over a little bit more because it looks like the origin somewhat is in the middle, but it's not. All right, so as I said, define the most stuff that we can from the center, from the origin of your plane, or here, this is the origin of our entire part, but it isn't of our plane of our face here, so that's why we drew these construction lines to find our little center here, but we're going to be using a center point triangle for that. So it should just go up. Also, I could do this again, where I draw it way out here, and then I go coincident, not midpoint this time, coincident. So we're good. So we'll once again, after we draw that center point rectangle, we'll once again use the midpoint function. So just click on one of these two lines. It really doesn't matter. Technically, you could just use one of the lines as long as you're careful to use that midpoint function. But also there's other ways of doing this in case you wanted to go up here at a point, make these two coincidental. But I just decided that we might as well do this. So as you can see, clicked on here with the midpoint function, clicked on my center point rectangle. Here we go. It's exactly in the center. It's not just defined using dimensions, it's defined using coincidences. So as you can see, it is coincidences. I'm not sure how I pronounce. To be honest with you, I mainly just learn by messing around with it, so I don't really know, and reading about it, so I don't know how things are pronounced. Please don't get super snobby with that, because it really doesn't matter. But as you can see, whatever it's called, they're important in defining your shape. All right, so now we will go to dimensions, pull this out, and we're going to be making this 1.5 inches. And with our width here too, 1.5 inches. All right, here we go. We're done with everything. Here we can just click, yep, we're done with the sketch. All right, so next what you're gonna do instead, we're still gonna be using this extrude function, but we will be removing actually instead of extruding. So we can either click on this little rectangle or we can click on sketch 2. I'm gonna just get you guys used to maybe using the feature tree just because along with the stuff you're using to define things, it's just a more exact and almost a weird ways to do things that maybe aren't as logical as just, measuring it or clicking on stuff. It honestly will help you later in your CAD career. So we're gonna go through all again because it's a more precise way of doing stuff. So as you can see, if I move around, again, that's right click and drag, I can just see through my whole cube. Other options I could do would be like up to next, where it would be up to the next face. But if I ever, actually I'm gonna do that just in case I ever want to build onto it and I don't want it, this hole to keep continuing. So you can either do through all, you can set the blind to 3 inches, or you can do up to next. Any of those 3 options would be great. All right, here you go. And again, another thing that's why we do like those midpoints and this coincidence or whatever, is because they allow us, we could go into our sketch, we could edit our sketch, and say if we had just defined this and we just said, oh, this is however many inches, this is 0.75 inches, from this size is 0.75 inches. But then if we ever wanted to we couldn't make our square bigger, but here, since it's already centered, we could actually change these dimensions here, and it wouldn't wreck our whole assembly. Yeah. So just for examples, for example, I'm just gonna change this to 2 inches each. There you go. I could just click yep, and as you can see, if I just had those as dimensions, it wouldn't have ended up working out like it did, still being perfectly in the center, still not messing this up, so you have no red text here, and it ended up working out perfectly. Just gonna make it red just for fun. Alright, there you go. That's was a quick lesson like coincidence and midpoints, and also how to extrude and how to remove stuff. So far, that's all we've covered. In later videos, hopefully we'll start covering how to do revolves, I think is next. But thanks for watching.